Good afternoon and welcome to our demonstration today. My name is Matt Durney with Cimplifi. Cimplifi is a platinum partner of DocuSign. I'm the senior director here and head of contract lifecycle management. What we're excited to show you today is a demonstration of ChatGPT embedded within a CLM workflow, and importantly, how our team has created a connection point between the AI technology, CLM interface, and how that really provides value to legal users in particular, but really is an empowerment tool for all users within the workflow as it can expedite negotiation times, accelerate processes. Again, cycle time and ROI being directly connected. This is giving the internal user base an advanced technology at their fingertip and the capability to make those cycle time accelerations, time to revenue increase, and provide immediate value. So within the CLM interface, typical dashboard landing page, but most importantly, what we want to talk about is we want to talk about the upload of third-party paper. The AI capability, similar to DocuSign Analyzer and risk scorecards and functionality that's probably known to the DocuSign team already, this additional capability, leveraging ChatGPT and OpenAI, gives us the ability to run a legal playbook, a pre-existing legal playbook that contains legal approved language and negotiation suggestions, really something that most large corporate entities already have today, no matter what the vertical, whether you're a telecom company, and this is a playbook that the legal team uses for transactional elements. It really applies to any industry, and it can be specific to the agreement type. So here you see the MSA playbook, PSA playbook, SOW, NDA. These are really just placeholders. This could be any playbook that's fit for purpose for the legal team, the product type, or the line of business. So within the financial services vertical, for instance, you may have a playbook that's specific to loan onboarding, or you may have a playbook specific to other areas of the commercial or business banking section. It's all dependent on what's your high value transaction. What does it look like where the legal team is currently spending a lot of time? Where are there manual inputs required? Where do they need to process documents that are probably offline or on SharePoint or some other location that's outside of a CLM workflow, outside of the document view when they're making an assessment of any contract? And what this is going to do is it's going to give us a return that's in line with that pre-existing playbook. So again, this is a playbook that already exists. We're using the playbook as context to help drive and prompt engineer what we get back from the generative AI ChatGPT. The reason that this is important is because A, it's fit for purpose, and B, the training mechanism is using content that's already specific to the organization to get that return. With anything ChatGPT, with anything AI, we want to make sure that there are attestations in place that, yes, it's approved for the transaction, it's approved for this workflow. And all of that internal governance is something that, we can help clients work through and create protocols and governance structures around. So it may not apply to every transaction, every agreement type, but it does apply to, where fit for purpose and where appropriate within the organization, this technology use can be deployed. So at this position in the workflow, I'm an initiator. I'm that first person. I'm uploading third-party paper. I know the agreement type. I'm uploading Bravo MSA. Again, I'm selecting the MSA playbook. It's fit for purpose for this transaction, and I'm going to click save. Again, third-party paper, this is a key use case. Right now, this third-party paper document has yet to be legally assessed. The legal team does not have a footprint or fingerprint on this transaction outside of the fact that we're leveraging that legal playbook that has key guidance and legal expertise and information on what needs to happen to support negotiation, for instance. That's been selected as a reference point. And so what this ultimately will generate is it'll generate a task. The task that it generates is a legal review task. We typically, within this workflow, will recommend doing a metadata validation step, so a review data step in DocuSign CLM terms. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to track the attributes and the return from ChatGPT of what ChatGPT sees within this document. So in question and answer format, we've asked, again, consistent with the playbook, give us information that exists within this document. And so you can see on the right-hand side here within these attributes, and again, this could be contained in a review attribute step where the legal user is making an affirmative designation that, yes, this is correct. These are the correct answers for the question. You can start to see what the suggested values are. And so these are indicators. The suggested metadata footprint that we see here is effectively a remediation recommendation. And so when we're talking about the limitation of liability cap suggested value, we're saying this should be $1 million USD. And so that may need to be updated to align with the legal playbook, which is where we have our legal guidance contained. Again, at this position in the workflow, the legal team member is only now engaged. They're engaged as a QC layer. The human in the loop has this advanced information profile where they can see third-party paper, which was otherwise an unknown from a risk perspective and from a document content perspective. And now they have answers at their fingertips for what the suggested language should be. And the limitation of liability cap is one example for that $1 million return suggested. And then also the governing law. So the governing law should switch to the state of New York. Why this is important and why this goes a step further than a previous ChatGPT demo is we actually have the document returned back showing red line changes for that exact target content. So if I scroll down to 11.5, which is going to be the limitation of liability cap, you can see that ChatGPT, the return document that we get, actually contains the remediated answer. And so the attorney, the legal user at this position in the workflow, gets the benefit of that suggested edit. As Charles Post alluded to in previous demonstrations, this is like spell check. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be, it shouldn't be relied on 100% confidence, and 100% of the time is a quick turn immediately out for a counterparty review, but needs that human check in the loop to make sure that the suggested indicator, that suggested answer, is indeed fit for purpose and accurate and aligns to what the user expects. And so the legal expert within this workflow, it's an empowerment tool. It's a force multiplier. It's giving you the ability to support more transactions more efficiently, more effectively, and faster. And so having that suggested answer within this document now, we're trying to expedite the negotiation phase. Again, we talked about governing law, jurisdiction change needs to happen. This is now suggesting New York, and it's actually putting the target content in there. And so within the DocuSign Agreement Cloud, which has robust capabilities from an analyzer analytics standpoint, and also from a clause library and scalability standpoint for the enterprise, this is one other layer of tool that lets you take advantage of the full realm of capability in the market today. And so as a competitive advantage, having ChatGPT potentially embedded within certain workflows, maybe this does expedite a process. Maybe this does, having put this type of interface at the user's fingertips, that legal team who's consistently a key stakeholder at the table for any kind of CLM implementation, now they've got this advanced capability and it's meeting them where they work. And what you're going to see in a minute is we're going to toggle over to Microsoft Word and talk about how harmoniously this works with the analyzer capability and with the clause library capability. And so it really is using ChatGPT in a real world scenario, in a real life circumstance, third-party paper being a conduit for that and a good foil to talk about this, because what's once unknown and requires analysis and requires an offline document that may be a huge volume of legal guidance and content that exists, we can start to marry those things up and harmonize and keep it all self-contained so that within the workflow, within the place where they're reviewing documents, their options are at their fingertips. So before I toggle over to Microsoft Word to see where we meet people where they work. And why is that important? It's going to help with enablement and adoption. And really, again, as an empowerment tool, you don't want to necessarily change the entire process, but you want to make the process smoother and more effective. Within the analysis tab here on the right-hand side, again, this is already embedded DocuSign Analyzer functionality. This is a risk scorecard. It's familiar to the team, but it's also a good place to see where the governing law, as remediated to New York, this is a positive answer for us. We're going to say, okay, the risk profile associated now meets a certain criteria. For demonstration purposes, this is just an example scorecard, but again, it could be fit for purpose based on the agreement type, the product type, the line of business, the user base, the negotiation team, anything that would make sense within a given workflow. Within Microsoft Word, the same thing replicated. Again, we can see what's going on with this document, but we also have the ability, besides the governing law call out as it is, if that content, the suggested GPT answer, was not perfectly aligned to what you're looking for, it would give us the ability to do the exact rip and replace, remediate in time. Okay, with the correct clause library content up, it's going to give us the exact opportunity to remediate as needed. Does that provision need to change slightly? Do we need to use a slightly different version of it. Can I directly insert that option text? Of course. How did I know that that was the area that needed immediate update? Well, we have the ability to see that flag with the scorecard. We see within the workflow that that's going to pose a potential risk item to us, and it's already remediated with the version that we get back from ChatGPT. So what we're doing is we're not fully automating the legal user's role. We're trying to reduce attorney headcount, but what we are doing is we're giving the legal team a great capability to do what they do day in and day out in an expedited fashion with an additional layer of, technology at their fingertips. So how this is important and how this really comes together within a workflow, CLM from origination through execution, we're looking for that accelerator. We're looking for, tools to be fit for purpose, to have a workflow design that creates controls, sets guardrails, allows legal teams in particular to take advantage of the system, but use it to extend their fingerprint, extend their influence where appropriate across a workflow. And this is just an example of that. So using ChatGPT, you can see the indicators, you can see the indicating content, the suggested content, similar to the spell check example. It's providing that early look at the document. It's giving us very specific ways to compare documents. Which one do I want to see? It gives us the ability to look at question and answer, advanced information profiles. Okay, based on this information, what I'm seeing, I need to elevate this to tier 2 legal. Or based on the remediation, I'm comfortable with this. I'm going to make an additional edit or two, and I'm going to send it out to the counterparty for external review. Again, we're accelerating that turn time. Whether or not these terms are acceptable, we can send it for signature. All of this to say, Cimplifi sees ChatGPT as a very exciting avenue to pursue if it aligns with the DocuSign product roadmap. Again, Cimplifi does not want to overstep, and we do this in the vacuum of experimentation for demonstration purposes, and welcome all feedback. We welcome all insight and guidance that the DocuSign team has, and are forever grateful for the partnership as a platinum partner. We value that collaborative interaction and sort of the unified effort as we go to market for different things and support our clients for their ultimate success, which is the ultimate success for all teams involved. So appreciate your time today with this short demonstration. Hopefully this gives a quick overview of how we see an example use case play out, ChatGPT, generative AI, again, embedded within that CLM workflow. Thank you.